mean, we don't know much about Jesus as a person, but from the little we know, for instance, from the stories preserved in the New Testament, he never claimed to be God. He was basically this kind of hippie guru in this small province of the Roman Empire.
Sexy carpenter.
Who wanted to reform Judaism and basically tell people be nicer to each other. After he died, his followers weaved these more and more elaborate stories about who he really was,
What he
until
thought.
eventually some of them began claiming that he was God. For Jesus himself and his first followers, this would have sounded utterly preposterous and blasphemous
Yes.
to claim that I'm God.
Because he was Jewish. He did not think he was
He
Yahweh.
was Jewish.
Am I allowed to say that
He
out loud?
did not think he was Yahweh. He never says it. In line, you have a lot of, previous prophets like Jeremiah and Isaiah coming to the people, telling them, you should behave better. And he's doing the same thing. During his time, we have evidence of a lot of other leaders in Judaism that try to reform Judaism in different ways. And this is basically what he's also saying, and the people around him, this is what they hear. But then decades and generations after he's dead, and he's not there to be able to object, you have people say, no, this rabbi, this guru, who had a small following and was eventually crucified by the hated Romans, he was actually the God that created the whole of the universe.
So crazy.
We just learned of this, that really Paul wrote down all the stuff. And Paul had never met Jesus. He never met him. He wasn't even a contemporary of him. And that not one human that surrounded Jesus was literate. So none of them wrote it down.
Paul was the one who created the brand.
Yes.
You have Elvis and you have his manager.
That was my exact,
Yes.
I said the exact same thing. I'm like,
So
oh, he was
exactly.
Colonel Parker.
Exactly.
And Jesus is God. There's a Holy Trinity. They're all one thing. There's the Holy Spirit, there's God and his Son, but they're all one thing. So God was here, and then he said, fuck, they're all off kilter. I'm going to send my own son down there to lead them out of this quagmire, and then I'm going to let them die for their sins. But he just ascended back to heaven and I guess reconfigured with his one self.
I mean, in contemporary terms, he's a-binary.
Okay.
He always gender fluid.
Okay.
Like
He's
he's both. Is he
Deity
human?
fluid.
Is he divine? No. He's human fluid.
Wow.
He can be both at the same
I'd
time.
love to party with him, man. Everything's on the table.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. It's not a good explanation, but I'll take it.
The Trinity is one of the most complex theological and philosophical ideas that humans ever came up with.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of Christians don't really understand it either.
Yes.
This is why you have this profession of theologians who spend their entire life just trying to get it exactly right.
Yeah.
What is the relation between God the Father and God the Son and the Holy Spirit and all that? It's the first time in human history that you can technically follow everybody all the time. And your whole life sometimes revolves around money. It's very, very difficult to change what we already believe about it. And you come to 10-year-olds, and what is money? Money is basically a fairy tale for adults. It's not something objective in the world.
Yeah.
You look at these pieces of paper, and most of the money today in the world is not even paper. It's just electronic data moving between computers.
Yeah, you can't eat it, you can't drink it, you can't have sex with it.
Nothing.
What intrinsic value, right?
It has no intrinsic value whatsoever. It has value just because some people come and tell stories about it, and everybody believes the stories, and it works. Now, with AI and smartphones and all that, it's a game changer. Because you don't need millions of human agents to follow everybody around. You have the smartphones. People are paying for the agent from their own money and subsidizing their agent and taking the agent everywhere. And even if you don't have your own smartphone, there are other devices of other people.
Yeah.
You don't need a human to actually read all the data being collected. So you have things like social credit system, which is now being developed, which is basically taking all the data about you and giving you a score. AI is the first technology ever invented that can actually make decisions independently, and it is increasingly making decisions about us. So today in the United States, forget about China or Iran, in the US, you apply to a bank to get a loan, increasingly it's an AI that decides whether to give you a loan or not.
Oh.
You apply for a job. Increasingly, it's an AI. In the justice system, increasingly, AI is being used to determine sentences for people.
Really?
If you have a low score, then you won't be admitted to university.
Oh.
Oh.
Or
my
a prestige
God.
university. You can only go to the lousy universities. You cannot buy an airplane ticket.
Oh.
You cannot get a ticket to the fastest trains. You can only go on the slower trains. I mean, there's so many things that as a result of having a low social credit score. And the thing is, it's everything you do. If you think about money, so money is a system to give value to certain things you do in life. Like you work, you get money for that. But most of the things you do, they don't have a money value. But this is a way to basically monetize the whole of life. Everything you do. You tell a joke, if it's the wrong joke, you lose some credit for
Oh my
it.
God.
If you did something that they liked, you get a score. So it also means that the whole of life becomes much, much more stressful. This is not just China, this is also the US, other countries. If you're being monitored all the time and the data is always there, whatever you do could influence, your job prospects in 20 years.